welcome to my channel and welcome to part 2 of prepping for a craft fair. In this video, we're going to go over everything that you need to bring to a craft fair, from your tent to your money. If you watched part 1, that was last week, I was finishing up items to bring to the craft fair. And the craft fair is tomorrow. It is Friday night and I have just loaded the truck up with everything for tomorrow. It is supposed to rain, so I'm a little nervous because I don't really know what to expect. I've done a lot of craft events, but none of them have had such a high percentage of rain like the entire time. I've had rain during an event before, but not like the entire 6 hours that this event is gonna be. And of course it's outside because I live in Florida and I'm just not really sure what to expect. So let's get into this video and go over everything that I have packed that is necessary for a craft fair. If you're new to craft fairs, thinking about starting to sell at craft fairs, or you've done a couple, I hope that this video is helpful to you guys, because I know when I first started going to craft fairs, I was looking on YouTube for recommendations on, you know, the certain things that I would need, you know, the tent, tables, things like that, you know, how much money to bring, that kind of stuff. So I hope that this video will answer most of your questions. I do have a list of things that I have found to be very helpful and necessary since I've been doing craft fairs. I've definitely tweaked it as I've gone along and found what has worked, and hopefully this will also help you guys. Okay, the first few items are going to be like the must-haves. The first thing is a good tent. So I ended up getting my tent from Amazon, and I'll link it in the description below. I love the tent. It has 4 sides that can be easily detached or easily thrown up, you know, if it starts raining. Actually, I haven't had to use the sides yet, except for I've used one side as like my back side. I haven't had to fully enclose the tent yet. So maybe tomorrow, because it's supposed to rain and I'm not really sure how tomorrow's gonna go. So stay tuned, I'll let you know about all 4 sides of the tent. But so far, I love this tent. It comes with the stakes for the tent. The only thing it didn't come with were weights. So I did have to buy weights separately. So think about that, because if you end up doing an event that is on, you know, concrete, you can't use the stakes. So you're gonna need weights. So make sure your tent has stakes for the grass and weights for pavement. The next thing you're definitely gonna want are tables. I've got 2 8-foot tables that fold in half. I will, again, link where I got them in the description below. I got them from Walmart, but I'll also flip the camera around and show you exactly what I have. So I have 2 folding 8-foot tables. The next thing you'll want is at least 1 chair so that you can sit. I tend to do these events alone just because my husband has so much work to do. So I just usually have my 1 chair, but if you're gonna have someone sitting with you, also make sure that they have a chair, because these events are long and they're exhausting. So make sure you have something to sit down on. You'll also wanna make sure that you have a sign that either is your business sign or at least something describing what you're selling. So my sign is Wood, Wine, and Crafts. And the first event that I ever did, I made a wood sign that I put on my table. Well, I quickly realized that that sign that I made was taking up a big chunk of space on my table, and then you couldn't see the pieces that I was selling behind it. So I scrapped that. I attach the sign that I made on fabric using iron-on vinyl to the front of my drop cloth. So that eliminates hiding any space on my tables for the decor that I am trying to sell. On top of the tables, you're gonna want some type of table cover. So I use just drop cloth from Harbor Freight. They have them at Home Depot, Lowe's, anywhere like that. So I have 2 drop cloths that go over both my tables. The other thing that I always have with me, structure-wise, is, actually I can grab it right here. So my husband, sorry, got the dog laying here. So my husband helped me make this 3-tiered little mini bookshelf, if you will. I use it for my book stacks, and it just adds height onto the table. So that's another thing you want to think about, is not just having all of your stuff just laying flat on the table. You're going to want to add height to your table. So whether you make something like this, or if you stack different boxes, like decorative boxes, and then put your displays or your pieces to display within the boxes or on top of the boxes, anything to add visual height so it's just not all flat, and then people can see it when they're walking by. Because the big thing with craft fairs, people like to window shop. So they're gonna just look into your booth while they're walking by, and if they can't really see what's on the tables, they're probably just gonna keep walking. So you want to add height so that people can see something that draws them in, and then they'll continue to look around and hopefully buy some stuff. I also wanted to say before I forgot that I also now, because it took me, I don't even know how many craft events to do this, at least 5 or 6, but I now have totes, plastic totes, to put everything in. So now everything fits within the totes, and the totes can be easily stacked into the car. They're easy to carry. If it is raining, then nothing is gonna get wet or ruined. And before, I was just using random boxes that I had, like Chewy boxes, Amazon boxes, any kind of box that like friends gave me that were large enough that I could just store stuff in. And it was great at first, but you can't really stack the boxes very well like you can stack containers. So my next suggestion would be to invest in some containers for all of your stuff, or some type of tote that you can easily stack. Okay, for example, this tote right here, this is my tote that carries my drop cloth for the tables. It has the bags that I use when people do buy something from my booth that fits into a bag. It carries these. I get these from Hobby Lobby. It is a great deal compared to going like to the dollar store, which I did at first too. So go to Hobby Lobby and get these. You can see. Great deal. In this container, I also keep little like picture frame holders that I can put on my tables, again, to hold signs that I'm making or any other type of decor that would fit on this. Again, adding height. Hopefully it'll grab somebody's attention when they're walking by. I just have a little thing for my business cards. I don't have my business cards in here right now, but this is where I put my business cards. And this is another thing that I keep out on my table. So this is my payments accepted sign. So I will also get into different types of payments for the craft events, but this is what I accept. I do Venmo, PayPal, and Square, as well as cash. But I have my QR codes for Venmo and PayPal, so if someone does want to pay, instead of like trying to find me, they can just scan the QR code and my name pops up, easy peasy. So I always have this with me. The last thing that I make sure that I have with me is this bag. And this bag is like my holy grail bag because it holds some very important things, including the different types of payment that I accept. Meaning, I have my little pouch and I have my cash that I pull out from the bank. which I'll go over, and the square. The square is really important to have at events like this because not a lot of people carry cash. Some people do when they come to craft events because they go to them a lot, so they just always have cash. But most people these days pay with their card. And I can tell you from the last event that I did in February, I believe it was like 80% of my sales were on the square. So if I didn't accept credit card or debit card payment, I would have lost out on 80% of the sales that I made. So a square is really, really important. So in my bag, my little zipper bag here, I have a pen. I can write other information on my business card if needed, or if I need to redo a price tag, then I have that. I also give the option of holding people's orders. So if they come into my booth and they buy some things, but they don't really want to carry it around, then I will put their stuff in a bag, write their name on the bag and their phone number, and just put it underneath my table so that they can come back at the end and pick up their stuff. So I do that as well. But I also have an apron, and the apron has 2 large pouches that holds my cell phone with the square attached to it. And then in the other pocket is where I hold my cash. So my money is always on me. So if I'm talking to somebody in the booth and I get distracted, at least my money's on me and no one can take it. Another big thing to have is plenty of water bottles and snacks. You don't really want to leave your booth too much if you can help it. I mean, if you have somebody with you, it does make it easier, to run to the bathroom or to go grab food, or they can grab food or drinks or whatever. But if you're by yourself, you don't really want to have to use the bathroom that much if you can help it. So, but staying hydrated is important. So make sure you have water and make sure you have snacks. I wanted to go over the cash that I bring to the craft fairs to make change for people. I remember when I first started doing craft fairs, and I was looking on YouTube at videos for people preparing for craft fairs. They always said to have cash, but they never really talked about like how much or the denominations. So I wanted to go over that because it was trial and error for me for several craft fairs. It still kind of is, and it's gonna be trial and error for you because what works for you may not work for me, and vice versa, depending on where you're at, what type of event you're doing. I make sure that I have plenty of ones and then a little bit less of denominations of 5, and then like 1 or 2 10s and maybe like 120. So I predominantly have 1s and 5s to make change for people if they're paying in cash, because more often than not they're handing you 20s and they only need a couple dollars in change. So I usually pull out around $15 to $20 in 1s, about $20 in 5s, maybe like 10 or $20 worth of 10s, and then like 120, like I said. So I average about $75-ish that I bring in cash with me to the events. And I just wanted to kind of break that down with what I do, because I struggled trying to figure out what I should bring denomination-wise for a while. And I've been doing this routine with the denominations for the past like 3 or 4 events, and so far so good. It has worked out. Here's my tent. It folds up super easy into this roll-away bag. It's great. And in here are the stakes for the tent, and then the sides, they came in here the first time, but once I took it out, I couldn't get them back in. So I just keep them in this box with the weights. So I always have that, my chair, and then these are the two folding, these are the two folding tables that I got from Walmart, and they're awesome. So, but I'll link all of this in the description below. And this is just 2 of the containers. I have, I think, 5 other containers. So still have to load up the car, but everything is in this size container. Makes it super easy to stack, super easy to carry and store. So I highly recommend them. And I got these at Target. They're the Christmas brand. I don't know. I got them after Christmas for like $7 or $8 a piece, so, or less. I don't remember, but if I can link them, then I will. All right, got everything loaded. 3 rows, 3 high. But super easy and nice and clean looking. These are the skies. I'm not really sure what's gonna happen tomorrow. Say a little prayer. Good morning, happy Saturday. Check the weather, and the percentage this morning dropped a lot. It's like 20% all the way through about 1 p.m. And once 1 hits, then we're gonna get hammered. So I'm really hoping that people will come out this morning until about noon. That'll give about 3 hours of good craft fair time. And then I don't know if they'll let us, but I may try and pack up to get out of there by 1 o'clock so that we don't get soaked and my stuff doesn't get ruined. So we'll see. I don't know, maybe also the weather will get pushed back a little bit and then we'll be okay. Like I said, I really don't know. So I'm just glad that right now, well, you can't really see, but right now, there's blue skies. So that's a good sign for now. I've had my coffee this morning. I'm all dressed. I got my hat because of the rain. I've got my shirt that I wear to all my events now. My sister made my logo for me, so I just did some iron-on vinyl on the shirt that I got from Hobby Lobby. I have just my workout pants on and my really crummy tennis shoes because, well, the rain. So I'll have my apron on. We're good to go. So let's go get set up. Okay, all set up. My husband just left, and he said when he was leaving there's a long line of people that are getting ready to come in to this event. So fingers crossed that people will come in and they'll enjoy themselves before the rain hits. And look at these windows in this tent. Pretty nifty, eh? So far I'm liking it. now Sunday, and I just wanted to go over how yesterday went. So thankfully, the rain stayed off until 3 o'clock. So we ended up packing up a little early, and we left about 2:40, 2:45 from the event. And it was close to the house, so by the time we got back, we got 2 boxes brought into the house before it started pouring down rain. Very glad that it held off through the whole event. It kept getting pushed back and pushed back. So that was a positive thing. I didn't do as well as I was hoping I would have done at the event. I'm not sure. There are so many factors that go into events. Definitely the weather for sure. A lot of people commented that they weren't even sure if they were gonna come. And oh, another thing, where I was at the event, so there were 3 locations at the event where vendors were. And where I was at, there were at least 7 or 8 vendors that didn't even show up for the event. And then I know, talking to other vendors, that they walked around and saw that there were other vendor spots that were empty as well. So a lot of vendors themselves didn't show up yesterday, and a lot of the people that were walking around, like I said, they weren't sure if they were gonna come or not. So the turnout may not have been as high as expected. A lot of people did come into my booth and were looking around and took my card because I do custom orders. So they did take my card, and I did make some sales. I just didn't make as many as I was hoping I would make for the day. But for those that are new to events, it can be kind of discouraging when you don't do very well. But if you can at least make the money back from renting your space, so however much it costs for you to rent your space for that day, and if you can make back the money for the materials that you put into making your items for that day, then consider that a win, because in the end then you are not out any money. So try to look at it positively like that. Even if you don't make a ton of profit after that, if you can at least make your rental fee and then the material cost that you put into that day. So I did surpass those, and I do want to say that half of my sales were in cash and the other half of my sales were with the credit card. So again, having the Square definitely helps because a lot of people didn't bring cash. If you have any questions about anything for a craft fair, what I talked about, leave it in the comments. Hopefully I'll be able to answer or clarify any questions that you may have. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Give this video a thumbs up, and please consider subscribing to my channel, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye. Okay, before I forget, most of the items that I did not sell yesterday, I'm going to be putting up onto my Etsy page, and I'm going to try to get most of them posted before this video is posted. I'm going to leave the link to my Etsy page, Wood, Wine, and Crafts, down in the description box if you're interested to check it out.